it.
But then the people who own
It's
the real
good.
products
I like
are
it.
like,
It's just this is a bizarre trend.
They're like, fuck you, we're making our own shit, you know.
Yeah, and then
Like,
they're like, oh
Scripps'
yeah, I guess people
successor.
really do want that back.
You're like, we might as well make it if this is actually a thing, and they're like, yeah, but you know, like we gotta compete.
Oh hey, I can pre-purchase Fallout 4 on Steam right now. Thank you,
I already
Steam.
pre-ordered the PS4 copy.
Pre-ordered on Steam, Amazon, GameStop, and I think Bethesda's website as well.
I'm gonna wait until the Game of the Year edition for all the DLC.
Nah, I'm not waiting. All right, John, are you there? I don't know what happened to him.
He just like left, went to the store, you know.
I don't know where he went. All right.
I wonder if he just killed the stream when we like stopped talking about Fallout.
Probably.
Was he ready to stream? So, can we just talk about whatever now?
I hope so. I mean, this was getting to a cool place.
Hey Stark, you said you were like an indie guy back then.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be back, but
yeah, same here.
I opened up a new project on teamups.net, and John said he wanted to be a part of it. Since it's low poly, it's really easy to model for, and he wants to try his hand at game development.
I kind of have some game ideas I'd love to put out there is all.
Oh, go for it. Like, I'm a kind of studio that, like, if I have a team member that wants to attempt an idea, I think, like, go for it, because everyone should have their own try at it, you know?
Awesome. I had this, like, FPS online, like, team idea that would incorporate some elements from, like, the MOBA genre and just all the new stuff that's been going on lately, like infinite, not so much infinite runners, but, like, take the idea of infinite running. Like, you have a guy driving across an infinite field or whatever, and you have the rest of the team, like, in the back, like, shooting at stuff, and the guy would be driving, avoiding obstacles, driving. Just stuff like that. Like, MOBA-styled FPS maps, where you have, like, a random third-party group of, like, some bandits in a burnout building. You kill them, get like a rocket launcher for like destroying a tank the other team is escorting to this side of the field or something.
Yeah. I'm actually trying to put together a MOBA myself, so.
Oh, I had an idea for a MOBA back. Public domain characters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Swath. What's your MOBA like?
Okay, so I'm not really a fan of League of Legends, right?
Mm-hmm.
But have you heard of Smite?
I love Smite, yeah.
So I've been playing Smite every day since January, basically, and the more and more I play it, the more I realize that it is the start of a trend that hasn't been big enough. Like, I thought for a little while, I was like, oh, you know, this is sort of kind of like Team Fortress, but then it's really not, because there's a lot more strategy that goes into it when you pick the things that you're using. And as much as I like that, I don't like being restricted to that 2D plane. So I'd like to be able to have that same idea of just, it's not so much a who can fast twitch the most, you know, like Call of Duty. I want it to be a thought process of like counters and counters and counters, you know, like League, but I want it to be more or less you can move around the map as freely as you want.
All right.
And I still want to do like those lanes though. I just want to like structure the lanes differently.
Have you ever? Sorry.
Go for it.
Have you ever seen Awesome Knots?
Yep.
Go ahead.
So, one of the things. Sorry, I'm having a hard time between the audio that's going on in the game I'm playing and the audio that's going on the
Oh,
mic.
no, it's
Because you
fine.
can't.
What game are you playing?
No, you can't make GTA. Shut up! God damn it!
Oh yeah,
I'm
that
fucking
GTA.
here now. Um. Anyway, so for example, I wanted to have. I'm talking to Tristan.
All right.
Oh, what'd you say?
Um. I want to have something like this. Basically, you'll have a bunch of base classes that. Are you talking to me?
Wait, what's going on?
Is Surgeon talking to me?
Uh, I wasn't really saying anything.
No, it's in my GTA game. Never mind. Hold on. Let's see if I can just mute everybody.
Yo, I'm back.
Yo, yo, yo.
So
All right, were you still recording?
I wrapped up at like 1 hour and then just clicked record again. So there's like a
Oh,
part. There'll be like a part 2.
we've
Are we
been
gonna
kind
do
of just
two
talking to
separate
breeze.
ones?
Yeah, that's
Wait,
fine.
so
I have
we
to mute
talked
this
about
thing. I can't-
It's still
a little
recording.
bit of Fallout 4.
Don't worry,
Is it
Is it
Tristan.
really still recording? Because there's some interesting stuff in there.
Yeah, it like 6
All right.
minutes. 6 minutes ago, I stopped the recording and started uploading it to Tristan's YouTube, and I pressed to stream live. So right now we're streaming it live. We got a viewer or two.
Oh,
All right,
Hey.
let's reboot it. I got topics
Reboot.
we can talk about that
All right,
aren't
Tristan.
Fallout 4 related.
Bring out some
All
new
right,
topics.
welcome.
Wait, what?
New topics.
Some new topics. All right,
Bonus round.
This is just going to be entertainment and the
Part
world in
2.
general. And no, we're not going to talk about Bruce Jenner. Nobody's talking
Fine.
about that in this cast. I bet you're all fine with that. All right, starting off, what do you think of DC's approach to their cinematic universe compared to what Marvel's done? As it seems, DC is only going to have, let's see, they have Batman versus Superman, which basically has every character that's going to be in the Justice League in the film, followed by Suicide Squad, which has like basically most of the Batman, or not all the Batman villains, but a lot of the Batman villains and Batman himself, followed by Wonder Woman film to set up the Justice League Part 1. So do you think they're rushing into things a little too quick to try to catch up to Marvel, or do you think they're going about a right approach and the tone of their films as a darker, as DC's claim to be more darker and less comedic, as you could kind of see with Man of Steel, that was the general approach to make maybe a more realistic story, even though the dude, can fly and punch people into the sun. So to compare the Marvels, sort of realistic, but more comic book feel and comedic. And let's not talk about Fox's X-Men universe or the Fantastic Four universe, just strictly the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the DC Cinematic Universe. Whoever wants to speak up first can.
I think that DC's trying a little bit to like catch up, but I think what their real approach is they want to hit the group thing, the Justice League movie, and then they want to actually see what characters are well received because it's a different crowd from the comic books readers to the people who go to watch the movies. So, let's say Aquaman, where, he gets the good and the bad rep depending on who you're talking to. I think they want to show him in the movie and then see what the feedback would be and then see if it would be a waste of their time to make a movie or not.
Technically, they have a movie for him announced, but, you have a good point. They could just cancel it and replace it with another film because, you got your two characters, and I think Wonder Woman's probably, if you want to talk about DC Big Three, Wonder Woman and The Flash are probably right behind Batman and Superman, as they're the two biggest characters. Probably, honestly, they're probably the two biggest superhero figures or comic figures in just the entire world, because Superman and Batman. Marvel, you got Spider-Man's the face of Marvel, with I guess Iron Man's kind of become a big face too, which is kind of funny because really
He was never really well received.
Yeah, the only time that people liked him was in Marvel's Civil War, and it wasn't that people really liked him. He just became a good character. He was basically the villain of the Marvel Civil War. And that's when people finally started to sort of appreciate his character a little bit more. But before that, he was only really had a few good storylines, and really they got Demon in a Bottle and Iron Man Extremis, the kind of the reboot for him, were really the only. And Armor Wars was kind of cool. And in the movies, Robert Downey Jr. hit it out the park. The movie version is the definitive version of Tony Stark, obviously. But anyways, Batman and Superman are, that's DC's safe bet. Man of Steel made money. Batman vs. Superman is probably going to make over $1 billion, no matter if it's a terrible film, if it's overpacked with shit. But it's probably going to be pretty long. Man of Steel was like over 2.5 hours, and I felt that movie could have been shortened a little bit. So, and there's even a rumor that Batman vs. Superman will be split up into 2 parts, but I don't know if at this stage in production that's going to happen. It's probably going to be a long movie. It'll probably be about Avatar long, because I think it does need that to really flesh out what you got here. Well, let's see what your main cast. I think you got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Lex Luthor, Lois Lane, and Alfred are your main cast, and there's a lot of other characters. They said
and Jimmy
Cyborg has a cameo, Aquaman has a cameo, The Flash has a cameo. Stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I watched the most recent Avengers movie, right? And I had this strange feeling when I was watching it that the movie needed to be like longer in time duration, you know what I'm saying? But that at the same time the story was too drawn out. So I think looking at like a Batman versus Superman movie, I mean, depending how they approach it, you could end up with a movie that's more, I would say they put too much in the wrong places. So you could get this, because what I'm thinking is they're not really going to focus on the fighting as much as everyone thinks it's going to be.
It's the DC Cinematic Universe is claimed to be more pitted in reality and more dark and more about. They said it's going to be more about the characters, which Marvel's been about the characters, but they also have the really flashy action scenes, as you definitely seen in Age of Ultron, which I do agree that movie needed to be longer in some ways. Apparently, the Blu-ray is going to have an extended cut, but
really,
apparently it's like 3 hours or something, which I guess that'd be kind of good for some character development for like Quicksilver and Ultron. But
yeah, I was kind of surprised by some of the events that happened in there.
Yeah, we're not going to spoil anything, even though I'm pretty sure everyone's seen that. I think that movie's made more money than the original Avengers. All right, we're not going to say anything. But
I mean, I know you don't want me to bring up the Fox. It's just
you can bring up Fox if you want. I just don't want to go too much into it because the X-Men universe is coming to an end with Wolverine, and then they're going to reboot it, which is sad because we can finally get Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, unless he's going to be in his own little bubble.
We all know it's going to happen. There's no doubt.
He's probably going to be Deadpool for a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're gonna make at least one movie. I mean, if they could fuck around with a video game,
trailer?
they could definitely.
That Deadpool trailer.
Yeah. The CGI one, they were doing a voice test with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. He's perfect. He's the only person I could really see playing Deadpool besides myself. So
I could see the entire reason they rebooted the X-Men is because they killed off Deadpool. I could honestly see that.
That wasn't
thing
Deadpool.
when we could talk about X-Men for a minute and then get back into Batman vs. Superman. But the big thing is the first 2 X-Men movies were great. What was it, X-Men and then X-Men United? Those movies are both really good. Still 2 of the best comic book movies, even though they weren't really faithful to comics, but they were still good. And then you get X-Men The Last Stand, where Cyclops dies in like the first 10 minutes of the movie, and Professor Xavier dies within like an hour, or no, he dies in like the first 30, 40 minutes. You just kind of have like a lot of rushed plot lines, and the Phoenix was really underwhelming, and you just have Wolverine stab her anticlimactically at the end, and pretty much there was just too many characters died. There was a lot of stupid things, and Angel was in the movie for like 3 minutes. Yeah, it's pretty much that it's been retconned with Days of Future Past, and which is an interesting thing about the X-Men universe right now, because you have two different timelines you can kind of watch. You start with X-Men First Class, and then you can go in the Days of Future Past, or you can watch the original X-Men movie, and then you can go on from there. As you know, you watch First Class, you watch X-Men, United, and then X-Men Last Stand, or I think X-Men Origins Wolverine is before original X-Men, and then with the new universe, you go from First Class to Days of Future Past, and then everything from this point on, apparently their new universe ends with Wolverine 3. Actually, no, the Wolverine is in the other universe too. I forgot about that movie.
I'm sorry. I need a diagram for all this.
I'll get a diagram, but it's just the way they're building things up, and then Deadpool comes out, X-Men Apocalypse comes out, Gambit comes out, and then Wolverine 3, or the rumor is they're going to do a live-action adaptation of Old Man Logan, which that would definitely be an interesting way, because it's going to be a big send-off for Hugh Jackman, as he's the only actor that's ever played Wolverine live-action-wise. And it'll be interesting to see, because that's coming out in 2017. After that, what they will do with the X-Men universe, because, like I said, apparently they're going to reboot it. So, and what's going to happen? Well, what do you think they could take in a new direction with another reboot?
Ultimate X-Men.
What if this is just a super hypothetical situation? But what if, after Marvel's cinematic Phase 3, that they tried to work with them in a way? What do you think would happen? Like Sony has done with Spider-Man.
That again?
Marvel's cinematic universe, when Phase 3 is over, after they fight Thanos, and after the Wolverine 3 comes out, and apparently the X-Men universe gets rebooted again. Supposedly, that's the heavy rumor.
Series, because Marvel's buying back Spider-Man from Sony.
Actually, they're not buying him back. Sony is working with Marvel, because there was a whole situation of Andrew Garfield being a whiny actor or some stupid shit like that. So they're like, fuck Amazing Spider-Man 3, we're taking Marvel's deal. Tobey Maguire? What? It was just something to do with Andrew Garfield didn't show up to an event. So they basically changed a lot of things. And so we get Spider-Man in that universe. So what would you think if... I mean, the Fantastic Four movie is probably going to be a dud, regardless if people go see it. But you think that Fox would be ever willing to work with Marvel and Disney?
No.
After, post Phase 3? Because
no,
I
I'm
agree.
leaving.
I don't think they will. I think
Goodbye.
The Fantastic Four movie is going to suck. Oh, see. The Fantastic Four movie is going to be bad, obviously. But I don't know if those rights would ever go back, and I don't think Fox is willing to work, because they want all the dough, because X-Men makes money, especially Wolverine. That's why he's always on the front of every poster, because he's Wolverine.
It's funny. I actually saw an illustration of a scale for Marvel movie ratings, and it goes. The Avengers universe, it goes the real thing, and then it goes back a little bit, and it goes to the X-Men universe, it goes the real thing with ice, and then it just goes all the way to the end of the scale, and it just goes Spider-Man, it just goes the short bus. And I think that's pretty
Ghost
true,
Rider.
because, oh god, that's not even Marvel, it's Marvel Knights. They don't even want to acknowledge that they made that movie.
Yeah, was it Marvel Knights was the Punisher movie, the 2003
Punisher.
Hulk apparently was in that, and Ghost Rider, which apparently they're doing Punisher TV show, Blade TV show, and maybe a Ghost Rider TV show.
I would never watch a Ghost Rider TV show, but a Punisher TV show would be way better than a movie, because there's just too much to pack into a movie.
That's why the movies haven't been good, and with Disney owning Punisher, you won't be getting a rated R Punisher. Like Fox owns Deadpool, so you get basically Deadpool is literally the prime example of when producers actually listen to what fans want. That movie is only made because the test footage was leaked by someone, and everyone was like, "Yes, this is Deadpool. We want violent Deadpool that will be able to say shit like fuck in a movie whenever he wants. That'll be able to break the fourth wall like that. He broke the fourth wall like every other scene in that test footage, and it was only 2 minutes of just pure awesomeness. That is
Exactly.
the perfect example when you actually take a comic book character and faithfully adapt in the big screen. Even the costume is literally just a comic book costume, but just spiked up a little bit to look a little bit more realistic and less like footy pajamas. But is literally, it's just perfect. And I can
It
imagine
is.
that
Yeah.
even though the movie's not out yet, but if from what I've seen so far, from the set photos and the way they talk about it, the way they're promoting it, the way Ryan Reynolds is acting as Deadpool, which is spot on. Beyond this, honestly, could be the best comic book adaptation we could ever see, and Deadpool will have the best movie ever. Which right now it's debatable. I mean, some people say the Avengers, some people say the Dark Knight, some people say the original Superman movie of Christopher Reeves, but it's all debatable. Some people say Watchmen too, even though I don't think that was.
I liked Watchmen. I just think it was done
The comics are way
in a
better.
weird
I think it
time.
should have had they really should have set it up as more of like a trilogy for Watchmen, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Like,
I think Watchmen was done during a weird time for movies. There was like a lot of odd trends that I didn't it like I like the story since it was the way I was introduced to it, but it could have been done way better.
yeah, it's good. It's not bad. It's definitely not bad. It's
Yeah,
like
but there's just so
it's
much more
probably
room
on
for
like just the
improvement.
average scale for like a comic book movie. Like that's pretty much where it's at. It's like slightly above average. It's on the scale you would see like the original Spider-Man movie on and stuff like that, where it's good but it can get better because of what you
You know, I
got with.
actually went and rewatched the original Spider-Man movie, and after trying to watch that series again, I think I might have actually liked the Andrew Garfield ones better. Because I
Here's
didn't
my
real
point of view on it. I like Andrew Garfield better as Spider-Man, but I like Tobey Maguire better as Peter Parker. And when it comes to the stories,
yes.
the first Spider-Man movie I think is kind of kid downed, and it's a decent film. And in Spider-Man 2, it basically just is based off of the Spider-Man No More story arc, but with Doc Ock in it. I think Spider-Man 2 is one of the best comic book movies ever because it's not even really a Spider-Man movie. It's more of like just exploring how Peter Parker like at the very beginning of the movie, he loses his job because he's being Spider-Man. He's late to deliver the pizza. He loses his job. He's late to class because he has to be Spider-Man, and he can't be with the girl because he has to be Spider-Man. And then he just, I think it's like halfway through the film, he just is like, all right, fuck it, I'm done. And he's not Spider-Man till the very end of the movie after that. And you just get to see more the Peter Parker side, which is why I think Tobey Maguire is just a much better Tobey Maguire. He's better dramatic than comedic actor. By Andrew
Yeah.
Garfield's the exact opposite. He's more funny than he is dramatic.
Which is the Spider-Man character is not necessarily Peter Parker, so I'll agree with you on that. It's just like you get Spider-Man 3 and then I just kind of lost respect for Tobey Maguire.
It's not his fault. They did that weird John Travolta ripoff scene, and where he's
No, not
dancing
even that.
around
Just
and-
like his forced crying, like he is
It's just not a good
someone-
movie. It's definitely not a good movie.
No.
They fucked up.
You know what's
Venom,
weird? Like
Sandman
I
stuff.
thought I like totally just disowned him as an actor until I saw him in Gatsby, and I actually
Oh my
I was like, you know, I
God.
kind of miss him as an actor. Like I was like, he
Gatsby-
has a good, he's like the good, the one role. He is literally just one role that you need to put into a movie. Like
He's always
Nicolas
a leading
Cage.
man,
He's
too.
only one role. You can't get another role out of him. He's just Nicolas Cage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Tobey Maguire's Tobey Maguire. He's Tobey Maguire. He's awkward, but he's very dramatic, and he can be very serious. But even though I say he's not necessarily comedic, it's just the way he acts around other people that makes it funny. Like, especially the interactions between him and Leonardo DiCaprio, The Great Gatsby, which some people
yeah.
don't think it's the best adaptation, but I think just because they casted Gatsby and I can't remember his name, the character's name, but they casted those two characters just about right in that film. You really get to see them biting off one another, and apparently they're actually best friends in real life, which probably made it even more believable. Which
Kind of
it's a
like
great thing.
Robert Downey Jr. and I forget his name, but the guy who plays the Hulk.
And Mark Ruffalo, they're actually good friends in real life, and you get that
Yeah.
feeling as with the two Avengers movies, they're always working and stuff. They co-create Ultron, and it's just cool like that. And then I think it was like when you compare the romance between the original Spider-Man movies and the Amazing Spider-Man movies, the Amazing Spider-Man movies definitely does it better because you actually have two people who are in a relationship in real life, which I think that's the best thing to come out of those movies is Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
For sure. And I did like Dan DeHeen as Harry Osborn, even though he did come off as kind of like a whiny douche, but
I was, it's weird. I could just never, ever, ever picture the Mary Jane for the Andrew Garfield versions. Like, I could never picture it. Who the hell would they cast?
They were gonna cast that one girl from like Divergent. They actually cut her scenes out of Amazing Spider-Man 2.
That would have been a bad pick. Very
Definitely would have been a bad pick. Not saying she's not attractive because she is, but Mary Jane is supposed to be like that drop dead gorgeous person that you see and has like a charismatic attitude, which Kirsten Dunst did not have. I don't know how she got casted as Mary Jane either. It's just you gotta cast her right. Which I hope they do the similar thing Amazing Spider-Man did with the new Spider-Man franchise. You do Gwen Stacy first, and then you do Mary Jane later on. That's just my opinion. Because I think Gwen Stacy is much easier.
I don't know how. Pepper Potts, actress. I don't know how she got that role. She doesn't really fit it, in my opinion.
I think she plays it well. It's just maybe more so for the first movie because she's not necessarily the focus of the first movie, and then the second movie she takes more of a role.
I think she played it better. It's like the other movies.
That's what I meant. The first movie she wasn't in it as much, but first movie she played the role pretty much spot on. She wasn't just traditional love interest. At the end of the movie she rejects him when he tries to get with her, which I loved. I was like, it's like Iron Man broke every rule in the book you do for a superhero movie. He doesn't get the girl in the end because he is a self-absorbed douche, and he reveals his secret identity to the world for only one reason, just because it makes him more famous than he already is. Even though he was already, he's going on his little, I guess, redemption path of trying to fix his wrongs. But when he's up on the stage at the end of the movie, it was just the best part of the film. I think he even quotes on how being a superhero would be awesome right before he says that he's Iron Man.
Yeah, he does.
And then he says it.
It's like, I'm not like a superhero or anything. And then that's
she's like, cool. I never said you're a superhero. And he goes, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? And then I just remember sitting in the theater.
What he wants to do mid-sentence.
Yeah.
I love it.
Just sitting in the theater, and then you see his face right before he says, I can't remember the line he says. I think he says something like, the truth is, like, because he's reading off his little cards, and then you just see his face stop for a minute, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe they're getting ready to do it, because I saw it happen, and then cue the Black Sabbath song.
Robert Downey Jr. just is Tony Stark. Like, his entire attitude is just, like, I've seen Robert Downey Jr. play other movies, and I can't picture anything else besides Tony Stark, because that's the thing. He's just Tony Stark.
He's great in other movies like Chaplin, and he's kind of funny in Due Date and a few other movies. And I really love him in Tropic Thunder as the white Australian.
Oh my god, I always forget about that.
Tropic Thunder's role and Tony Stark are his two best roles in my opinion, because the Tropic Thunder role is so much different from anything he's ever done, and I think he even won an award for that. I don't remember if he's won an award for being Tony Stark. I think he was nominated for one, but he got beat out by someone, which is a shame because I just think it's Hollywood's attitude about comic book movies is because there are a lot of the bad ones out there that give the good ones a bad name, like Iron Man and Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Like the acting and the stories in those movies are great, and they just don't get the love that they deserve because of the movies like fucking Thor sucking just terribly. I mean, they're watchable films, but it's like I don't understand how Natalie Portman's so bad in the movie. It's just like there's like that one movie you go to see and it's like, this kind of sucks, but see Thor smash shit with a hammer. I think Honest Trailers made fun of that and even said the same thing. It's just Hollywood. The comic book movies get a bad name because of shit like Thor and Ghost Rider. Ugh. I love Nicolas Cage in those movies, but those movies are so terrible. Ghost Rider. At least the first one was kind of like, and then the Spirit of Vengeance was just like, wow.
What even was the Spirit of Vengeance?
I don't know. I remember going. I didn't even want to go see that movie, but it was like it was some weird.
It never
like,
came out in
thing.
theaters, if I remember correctly. It just went straight to DVD.
No, it was in theaters where I was. I remember it was. That's the only time I've ever seen it. Only time I ever planned on seeing it. These girls wanted to go see it, and I was just like, all right, we'll go see Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. And then I remember sitting there watching the movie, and I was just like, what in the world? This is like, at least the first movie captured the tone of the character, even though they kind of executed badly in the story, and the acting was bad by everyone except for Nicolas Cage. And I was like, all right, they got a decent film. It's kind of stupid, but and then Spirit of Vengeance is just like a complete like 360, and they just made it like and 360 in a bad way, just terrible. It just got the Red Ring of Death halfway, like not even halfway. The first 5 minutes of the movie, I already could tell I was in for a wild ride.
The first time he like changed into Ghost Rider, I was like, what the shit is this?
Because the first movie made it, he transforms into a demon, but in Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, it's like what the hell? I don't even understand.
They changed the story too.
It was like a sequel, but it wasn't a sequel. And then at the end, he like learns how to control it somehow, and they're like setting up for like a third movie with him like as like the Blue Flames as a good guy out of like nowhere because he kills Satan at the end or some shit. I don't remember. I don't even remember what the hell happened. I remember there was some dude that was like
some acid before they made that movie.
And that movie just almost probably killed the character of Ghost Rider because I don't know anyone who liked that movie. Like, I mean, you usually know one person who liked the movie.
I have a friend who owns it on DVD.
I know someone who owns it on Blu-ray because they were like, oh, I like the first one, and then they got it on Blu-ray, and they're like, I watched it, like, I didn't watch it all the way through with them, but I watched the beginning of it again. I was like, I'm leaving. I've seen this before. That is honestly, when we're talking about terrible movies, that is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
Ever made.
It just ever made. I don't even understand. They didn't even know what's going on half the time, and like the kid's the Antichrist, but Nicolas Cage conveniently runs into them. See, I can't even call him Johnny Blaze. It's just Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider.
Nicolas Cage is the Ghost Rider who's always searching for the national treasure. That is the only way I could describe him. Actually, no. There is one role that I think Nicolas Cage was not his traditional one role for, you know? And that was in Kick-Ass, Big Daddy. I think he fucking nailed that shit.
Oh yeah, Kick-Ass 1 was amazing, and then Kick-Ass 2 was like, I think it was the fact because
I loved Kick-Ass 2.
I felt it was missing something, and it might have been Nicolas Cage, as funny as to say. What was it? This is that one movie, what is it called? Face Off with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. Remember that shit?
That's one of the worst movies ever made.
I honestly, it's pretty bad, but I just find it really entertaining. Like I had watched it on Netflix like a few weeks ago, because I hadn't seen it forever. And I just like right at the bat, just how retarded the action scenes are. They're like doing Max Payne bullet time jumps, and like every time a bullet fires off, there's an explosion. But dude, Nicolas Cage in that movie. He goes, would you like to suck my tongue? And then, like, when John Travolta's character puts on Nicolas Cage's face, and, like, there's a part where he's, like, looking at himself in the mirror, and he's like, I don't even know what the hell's going on. He, like, starts thinking that what is it, Castor Troy. He goes, I am Castor Troy, and then he does the Nicolas Cage face, and he's all like, My God. Dude, we need to sit here and talk hours about fucking Nicolas Cage. You ever seen The Wicker Man? There's one more thing. The
Oh
Wicker
my
Man.
God, the fucking thing. What's that? One of those iconic scenes he's known for? He's like, no, not the bees.
Yeah, it's from The Wicker
Oh my
Man.
God.
There's another scene in that movie where he wears a bear suit and he like runs up and punches a nun. The first time my friend showed me that, I was like, "What?" I thought it was just like a prank someone did on YouTube, and he was like, "No, this is a movie with Nicolas Cage." And once he said Nicolas Cage, I'm like, oh, "Okay, now I get it." Like he's like you said, he's that one role actor, but he's actually not a bad actor. It's just he's in every movie that he's in. Like he has like every now and then he gets a National Treasure movie, but every other film he's in sucks. Knowing sucks. Face Off sucks, even though Face Off's entertaining. Wicker Man sucks. Ghost
I
Rider
think what it
sucks.
is that he just doesn't say no to a role. You know what I mean?
Well, because he's I don't know if he's still technically bankrupt or he was, but he has to take roles to get money. He could expand his acting ability like Matthew McConaughey did, where Matthew McConaughey was just playing in shitty movies, doing the same all right role, and then recently he's like, you know what? I'm actually going to expand as an actor, and he did Interstellar. And the rumor is he's actually going to be Norman Osborn in Spider-Man, which I think that would definitely be a great role for him.
That's gonna
Yeah.
be kind of fucked up.
It's going to be interesting to see. I think he could do it because he had that one scene in Wolf of Wall Street where he played, the businessman that was evil. I can't remember exactly, but I think that scene would kind of sell Norman Osborn for me. But anyways, Nicolas Cage, yeah, every now and then you get that National Treasure, but overall it's just terrible films because he has to take any role he can get. Same thing with Samuel L. Jackson. He's in so many terrible movies, and he's that one actor, just one character,
Angry Black
badass, angry black man / badass black man, which I think with
Man. Have you seen Kingsman?
No, I have not seen that.
Oh,
Is he in
that's
that?
a good movie. I like what he did with his character. I really did.
I kind of like what he's
Made
done
him
with Nick
into this
Fury.
really
a bit.
nerdy guy. I love it.
Samuel L. Jackson was a nerd.
He
And
was
it
a nerd
actually
with a
worked well.
lisp. Yeah.
Wow. Because I remember
Yeah.
when Jamie Foxx tried to be a nerd in that Spider-Man movie, and it was totally unbelievable.
Yeah, and freaking, he wasn't even a badass nerd. Like, he was just a nerd.
It was stupid. Like, they try to make you feel bad for the dude, but then you just realize he's like a sociopath when he has like weird spouts about people talking shit about Spider-Man and him choking them out. I was like, what the hell am I watching? He wasn't even good as Electro. That movie, I'm not getting into that shit. Just Jamie Foxx. He's kind of had that one. Well, no, there was another movie he was in with Tom Cruise where Tom Cruise was like an assassin or something, and he drove Jamie Foxx around because Jamie Foxx was just a bystander. That movie was really good, and then Django Unchained was really good.
Yep, I like Django.
Pretty sure Samuel Jackson was in that movie too. I assume he was. I just can't remember. Samuel Jackson and Nicolas Cage are like in everything. They're like in every other movie that you watch. Like one movie you watch, Samuel Jackson's in it. Next movie, Nicolas Cage is in it.
Something.
Usually, the
You know
difference
what?
between
Jim
them.
Carrey has a lot of cameos.
Jim Carrey is a cameo guy. Yeah, he's just not funny anymore though. Same thing
I
with Adam
never,
Sandler and all
ever
those
liked
guys.
him.
Just all these old like comedians from the '90s. I liked their older movies. Like I like Ace Ventura, but it's just
No.
now
You know what?
it's not
No,
funny
you know
anymore.
what? I liked some of his movies. The guy who plays I liked. No, you know who I could never ever stand? Will Ferrell. I hate that guy so
Really?
much. Like I don't think any of his movies are good. He's annoying. I don't like any of his Twitter posts. Like nothing about him. I just don't like him.
I like him, and he doesn't necessarily play the same character every movie, but usually a theme with most of his characters is that they're really stupid. I think my
Yeah, they're
favorite,
just-
besides
They're
Ron
so
Burgundy,
forced,
is
though.
his
It's like
character.
driest humor possible, and it's not even executed well. You know what I mean?
Well, have you seen Step Brothers? Because I think I could see what you're saying with some of the other shit. Like Talladega Nights has some not well executed moments, but Step Brothers I think
Step
is
Brothers, I didn't. It, so forced.
I don't know. I just love Step Brothers. I can't.
Step
I can't
Brothers
still get
itself,
around
like
it.
overall, the movie is funny, but like specifically Will Ferrell, I just don't like him.
I can see what you're saying in a movie like The Other Guys, but I think that's because
Oh
Will
yeah,
Ferrell
totally.
and Mark Wahlberg have chemistry with each other, but all their jokes are stupid and like pulp culture references. And there's like a part where fuck, I can't even say Marky Mark's name right. Talking too fast.
He's actually from the area I'm around.
Yeah, he actually is, but there's a part where he's acting like he's a swan because he's trying to get back with his girlfriend, and he's like, you're supposed to laugh at it, but you're just like really like awkward sitting there watching it, like what the fuck. The only funny part in The Other Guys was when Will Ferrell was a pimp in college named Gator, and he had like fucking
I love
teardrop
that.
tattoos. That part made
Yeah,
me laugh my ass off. That is the only funny part in the movie. He goes, "Give Gator his gun, bitch."
yeah.
Gator don't play like that. This
I
is the
love
only good
that.
fucking part. His wife makes him leave because he starts acting like his pimp self, and she goes, "Just get the hell out." And he's like, "Gator going." It's such a dumb movie, though. Same thing happened with they turned the Hane over into a trilogy. God, the first one was good. 2 and 3, ugh. 2 was literally just a copy of the first movie, but like not as well executed and just retarded. And then 3 was like an original plot, but it was just like not funny.
You think they're ever gonna make a He-Man movie? I feel like they will.
They already did Masters of the Universe, didn't they?
I mean like a up to
Just
date
that, just
version.
He-Man,
No,
just He-Man versus
like a
Skeletor.
2000 some whatever part of the year you want to call it, rendition of it. Like not executed like a stupid cartoon kind of feel.
Oh, okay, like a more PG-13 modernized. All
Yeah.
right. If Michael Bay is involved with it, I could see it happening. Michael Bay has been known to bring these 80s franchises, Transformers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and turn them into absolute shit. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is literally rips off the plot of the Amazing Spider-Man movie, turns it into Ninja Turtles, and has obvious reshoots where a Chinese dude is the Shredder instead of what is it, William Fincher's character in the film? I don't remember his name. But he was supposed to be the Shredder. Everyone got pissed because he was a white dude. So they changed it to an Asian man that was like, had really forced and really weird scenes. And then Shredder tries to poison the city because he can, in the same way the Lizard tries to turn everyone into lizards in The Amazing Spider-Man.
Because he can.
And then Megan Fox kills Shredder, even though he's in a gigantic cyborg ninja suit that allows him to beat all the turtles at once. Easily. He picks up Raphael at one point in the movie and tosses him around like a rag doll. And the second movie's coming out, and Shredder is in it again. They recasted him with someone that's actually a good actor. Cry's in the second movie. Bebop and Rocksteady are in the second movie. Casey Jones is in the second movie. So the way the second, they're doing the same thing that what was it? I think it was one of the Transformers movies did to me. It was after Revenge of the Fallen, and I was pissed because it was terrible. And then when Dark of the Moon was coming out, and they were getting me excited because they were like shockwaves in the movie, Soundwave's gonna have a bigger role, and they're doing shit like that. I'm like, oh my god, this looks awesome. And then it came out, and I was like, this is like better than the last one, but it's still stupid. Basically, all you need to know about Transformers 2 and 3 is that Optimus Prime can kick anyone's ass because he's Optimus Prime. But in the first movie, he gets his ass kicked by Megatron. In Age of Extinction, the newest one, which might even be the worse than Revenge of the Fallen, believe it or not, he can beat everyone except for the dude, the bounty hunter that turns into a Lamborghini and is a solid 15 feet smaller than him. That guy kicks Optimus's ass, but he can beat everyone else up. He can beat Grimlock, but he can't beat anyone. But he can't beat him. I don't understand their logic with the power. And the Transformers movies are just bad. That's all the point is. Except I did like the first one at least. First one was not too bad, to be honest. I mean, I didn't care much
More
for
or less,
Shia.
I think Transformers is just a movie of, guys, let's go in and fight together. Okay, dies, comes back. I said stay together, and then boom, there's the plot.
Pretty much, what you get is Transformers fighting with G.I. Joe wannabes, which rumor has it they're rebooting G.I. Joe and tying it in with the Transformers movies, which I don't know how the hell you do that. I see it's the same thing with the Ninja Turtles second movie where they got all the classic 80s characters. Apparently Crane's in the movie too. And they're going to get everyone all excited again. Like, oh, Transformers, you get Optimus fighting, fucking Cobra Commander and shit like that. And then you're going to watch it and it's going to be probably the worst movie ever made.
It
Even
sounds
worse
like
than
the
Howard the
worst
Duck.
movie ever made. It does not sound good in any stretch.
It just sounds, that
Optimus
concept
Prime
is something I would
fighting
love as a
Cobra?
kid. Yeah, like it's just, they're just like, fuck Galvatron. We're not doing that. It's Cobra Commander is the bad guy.
What about Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter?
I would kill myself if that was made. The Mortal Kombat movies are some of the worst
No,
abominations Hollywood has ever created. Oh,
like
a game?
video game. Yeah.
Would they even match up? They're two different. They're
They
different.
can't
Street
do that.
Fighter is more like kids, and Mortal Kombat's like fatalities and like
Sega,
adult
you
like.
can't do that.
Yeah. So the only mature game Sega
I
ever
can
made was
see a
Bayonetta.
Mortal Kombat versus Tekken.
You mean Capcom? There's no
Yeah.
Sega.
There you go. Capcom.
I know. We're thinking of Virtua Fighter, but
You're both wrong on Sega.
I don't care who makes Street Fighter. Ah, shit. I guess that'd be kind of interesting if they ever did that, but they can't. They really can't. They're two different styles of fighting game. On
They
one
did it
hand,
with
you
DC.
got
Not necessarily.
Well,
they did a Street
Gods
Fighter
Among
versus
Us.
Tekken.
Yeah.
I guess, but I don't think Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter would ever collab because they're the two biggest fighting games right now, and then
What
the
if-
ones they're competing against each other.
Yeah, but I don't know. It could happen.
It could. I mean, I
Anything
think
can
if they
happen.
pulled it off right, it would be cool. But would that mean they would have to give like Ryu like a fatality, or would only Mortal Kombat characters have fatalities?
they would be like DC Universe versus Mortal Kombat, because the superheroes didn't do fatalities. They only did brutalities because they aren't allowed to kill people because they're superheroes. Blah blah blah.
I thought the Joker had a fatality.
That may be different because the Joker actually fucking kills people. So
I can't remember. And I know in Justice Gods Among Us they didn't have fatalities. They had
whoa.
let's see, they had supers. They had something similar to X-rays, but it was called supers, and they had another thing where the two characters could run at each other, and whoever had like more strength going into the run would knock the other player back. And you also can like knock people into like a different area of the stage, which was cool, and then introduce the stage interactions that were in MKX.
There's an invisible dude in my lobby running around with a machine gun, and I don't know what to do about it.
Just leave and find a new lobby. Visible piece of shit. He's just
I
mad
don't know,
because Kate
because-
didn't want to pick up her phone.
He just cleared my wheel. I don't know what's going on. But you're right, I'm gonna leave this lobby. I'm not dealing with that shit.
It's definitely a good move.
Yeah, I have
Listen
no
to
guns
this.
anymore, they're all gone.
Oh my god. I just look at the Fantastic Four's costumes because I've kind of ignored that movie. Why do costumes look like... I don't know what the hell they're trying to do. Militarized
How do you like the
costumes.
fact that they're going like adopted son, adopted daughter?
Okay, I'm not getting to the race thing. I'm just gonna say the only reason that Michael B. Jordan has that role is because he's friends with the director. No one else was even tried out for the role of Johnny Storm. It was just Michael B. Jordan because he's friends with the director. That's the only reason why.
That's not what I was getting into. It had nothing to do with the race part.
But just the fact with the adopted sister-brother thing, and they're not real brother and sister in this particular story is what you're saying.
Yeah, because it does change things a little bit.
It does. Like I said, I haven't seen the movie, but I don't like to judge movies before they come out, before I've seen them, but honestly, it does not look good whatsoever. Not because he's black, I don't care about that. Yeah, the last ones were pretty bad too, so. Especially Rise of the Silver Surfer, what the fuck was that? Why was Galactus like a gigantic cloud in space? That was so lame. But Doctor Doom, his suit looks cool. I mean, Doctor Doom looks cool, the theme looks cool, and I like the actress they picked for Susan Storm. She's a good actress, but everything else I'm just not into. I just don't think it's going to be that great. And it's still going to sell because it's a superhero movie, but I just think...
You can never do something just because it's going to sell, you know?
Yeah. It's pretty much the only reason this movie exists. And there's rumors that the movie's had a bunch of reshoots, and that's why it's been taking so long to come out.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, apparently they did a reshoot where the end of the movie shows them in their traditional Fantastic Four outfits because fans bitched and wanted in, so they did one reshoot for the end of the movie. And the sequel's already announced because they're that confident the movie's going to do well at the box office. And I know a lot of... Okay, I know this isn't the everyday casual moviegoer, but there's a lot of comic book fans that have boycotted the movie. And just because it just doesn't look good, it looks stupid. And everyone wants Fantastic Four back with Marvel. Which I think they should be back with Marvel, yeah. Fox of X-Men, no. That's not going to happen. Even though, yeah, we'd all like to see Wolverine fight Hulk. We'd like to see Magneto as an Avengers villain, but it's just not going to happen. X-Men movies make money. Even the bad ones made money. And they've only made 2 bad ones. All the other ones are good so far. And they're building up steam. Deadpool looks good. X-Men Apocalypse, if they go the route they've been going with First Class, Days of Future Past, it'll be good. Gambit movie with Channing Tatum, though, I think...
I didn't even see that. That sounds awful.
Yeah, that's the only one I'm worried about. I just don't think Channing Tatum is a good Gambit. The dude they had in X-Men Origins Wolverine was fine. He played good Gambit, even though he was in that movie for like 4 minutes. Just to fight Wolverine and to take him to that island. I don't know why.
My personal vehicle is impounded. Is that a thing?
Yeah,
Yep.
Vehicles get impounded.
How do I do that? Just call the insurance company?
PC people.
Yeah, I think you could.
You PC people. You're so funny sounding. This game has been out for 3 years. Or two.
See, the thing about that is that I just got this game. I haven't had a console for a while.
Right.
And, I don't really watch trailers of anything anymore because I hate spoilers.
Yeah, and getting marketed at.
Yeah, and, everyone I knew had it on Xbox, and I was just like, fuck you guys, you know what? I'm gonna get this on computer when it's better. Oh my fuck, what is with this lobby? There's a UFO outside.
Looks like you're in hacked lobby.
Bastards.
Oh god, they're everywhere.
Okay, so... Necessarily... you guys just want to end this cast here?
You're done? You're out of topics?
I mean, we ended up just kind of going all over the place. So I only introduced one topic about Batman versus Superman, and we never went back to it. Because we got into Nicolas Cage and all kinds of shit, which it was a good talk, but...
Well, if you have more stuff to say, keep going, and then we'll end it
I
in a
could
minute.
easily find stuff. John, I was telling him about how you wanted to take part in that indie startup.
Yeah, for sure. Work on making some games.
Yeah, Tristan said he had some ideas about games.
Well, see, everybody has ideas about games.
It's true. He
But
wanted to do like a
doing the
MOBA,
work.
which is interesting.
That was
I'm thinking about doing a MOBA.
that was that other dude. Tristan's the dude that's
Oh
on
yeah,
still.
yeah.
That
I
was
thought his
Doctor
mic was
Strange.
flashing on my cursor.
Doctor
Really?
Strange.
Doctor Surgeon. I thought
I
it was
could write stories and concepts for you guys, and you can capitalize on the game.
Actually, I'm kind of psyched for the Doctor Strange movie.
I am too. I think Benedict Cumberbatch is a good role, even though he wasn't who they originally wanted to go with. It was some dude first, and then that guy has scheduling conflicts for movies for like fucking years. And then Joaquin Phoenix was actually casted as Doctor Strange, but he said he left because, quote unquote, he says he won't do a movie if he doesn't think it's good, which is bullshit because he's been in a million shitty movies. But he
Well,
said he
maybe
thought
it was
he called
good.
Doctor Strange a bunch of magic mumbo jumbo, which is funny. Like, well, dude, what do you expect? He's like fucking Doctor Strange. He does magic and shit. Just because it's magic mumbo jumbo doesn't mean it's bad. Sci-fi has mumbo jumbo shit all the time that doesn't make sense because it's sci-fi and it's their own scientific explanation for shit. Like, who cares?
right.
I'm sure. I think Benedict Cumberbatch, because the thing with Doctor Strange, it's an origin story for Doctor Strange. The thing with him is, before he becomes, even when he's Sorcerer Supreme, he's basically another version of Tony Stark, but if you thought Tony Stark was a douche, wait till you get a load of Doctor Strange. I guarantee
Really?
the
I
first...
don't know anything about Doctor Strange.
Oh, yeah. He is like the world's like greatest surgeon before he's Doctor Strange, and he is like, think of Doctor House, all right? Doctor Strange is basically Doctor House, except like times 5. He is like the world's biggest
Oh
asshole.
god, I would love to see this movie. House the fucking
Yeah,
movie? Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
that's gonna be him before he becomes Doctor Strange. I think usually it's a car accident he gets into, and he's like, he's a surgeon, so he uses his hands, and his hands get all fucked up in the accident, so he starts going bankrupt trying to find ways to save his hand, and he loses all of his friends in the end because he's a huge douche. And then I think some versions of the story have it, he tries to kill himself, but then it's called the Ancient One, which is usually a man, but in the movie, the Ancient One's going to be a woman for some reason. I don't really care about that because the Ancient One could really be anyone, but it's usually an old Tibetan man that's saves him and then tells him to go to Tibet, and he goes to Tibet and hope that he gets his hands fixed, but instead he's just getting trained to be the next Sorcerer Supreme. And he is still being a little ungrateful bitch because at one point in time, usually he'll be like, why aren't you fixing my hands? And he goes, your hands aren't getting fixed. He goes, all right, fuck you, I'm leaving, faggot. And then he tries to leave, and then he's like, damn it, I'm going to freeze to death, so I better just stay here. And then he learns how to use magic, and his hands actually start to heal, but they never really get back to full strength, I don't think. And it's kind of like a Tony Stark thing where he does get better, but he's still cocky, he's still, narcissistic, and he's still an asshole. But
I was really
not as
confused with the whole Iron Man doesn't have an arc reactor, but he's still Iron Man. I'm just like, that's not really...
Iron Man
not
3
really-
made a lot of bad decisions with the character. The arc reactor in his chest was always a thing, and they didn't really set up to how he got it removed. I thought he couldn't get it removed because it was just so lodged inside, but I guess there must have been a scientific advancement, but I'm pretty sure he would
No,
have just
what
done
it was is
himself.
that he couldn't get it removed, and he didn't trust anyone enough to do it for him because he was scared to death because Tony Stark, obviously, being the self-absorbed person he is unable to comprehend things like that.
Yeah, of course. And I guess he just decides to trust someone. They didn't really explain it too much in the film. They just kind of montage at the end.
They explained it had something to do with Pepper Potts. Like,
I know she got all the or presumably she got all that extremist shit out of her body. I don't know. We haven't seen her since
Yeah.
that movie.
supposedly.
Probably
What
will never see her
happened
again.
is that he was so obsessed with the Iron Man part of his life that he wasn't making enough time for Pepper, and every time something Iron Man related would happen, she'd get dragged into it, and the thing was, before he was too self-absorbed to do anything about it, and now he was so attached to her that he was willing to make the risk of dying and take the surgery just so that he could be able to keep those two lives separate from each other, you know?
Yeah, he's trying to take more of a backseat in the Marvel Universe, especially after Age of Ultron. That's the whole point of creating Ultron. He doesn't want to be Iron Man forever, but he's also afraid because I think the big theme for his character development was when the whole portal situation in the Avengers movie is they keep going back to that as being the moment when Tony Stark changed a lot, became more, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess you could say fearful. Nah, he's not really compassionate. He's
more humanized.
Yeah, humanized. He realized that he was mortal, I guess you could say. And he realized that the world was mortal because he saw a fucking space station. He fought aliens. And so I wonder how much they'll tie in with Civil War when they finally get around to that. Because it's
I'm
not going to be
really excited for Civil War because I'm not a fan of Captain America.
You don't like the Winter Soldier? I thought the Winter Soldier was one of the best comic movies to date.
I liked the movie, but I don't like the character. Like, I fucking hate Goody Two Shoes Captain America.
Ah, I see now.
I want someone who's not afraid to bend rules, you know?
Well, if they go by the way that the story goes in the comics, at the end of Civil War, he basically is about to kill Tony Stark, and he's gone to such an edge to where he's become like a radical, and he almost kills him, and a bunch of civilians stop him. But, based off my understanding is, Captain America is either going to die in Civil War or Infinity War, and they're going to make the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, the new Captain America going forward.
They may make Thor a woman. Like the comics.
I don't know if they're gonna do that in the movies. I think that they're gonna. I don't think it's gonna be Natalie Portman. I think they're gonna do the Sif character and make her the female Thor if they're gonna do anything. Because now Natalie Portman apparently is not gonna be in Thor Ragnarok whatsoever. Thor Ragnarok is gonna not be on Earth at all. Which, thank God, because I love Natalie Portman, but in the Thor movie she's fucking terrible. Mainly because the Thor movies are pretty bad, except for Loki and Thor. Chris Hemsworth, he plays Thor perfectly. It's just the movies aren't good. The villains are
as in-depth a character as the Hulk, honestly. So
basically, here all you need about Thor is he cares about humanity. He has a gigantic hammer. He says shit like he's Norwegian. He's really attractive. It's just the main thing that makes Thor is Loki.
The morality is higher than comprehension.
Yeah, it makes him worthy of holding the hammer. Apparently, he's more of a goody two shoes than Captain America, sorta.
I think that's what it is.
I don't know how they use the word. Captain America is worthy of the hammer. It's just only at certain times he can pick it up. I don't know. It's comic shit.
Yeah, because Captain America has a different conscience set, or no, his conscience or something gets in the way of it.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think even Spider-Man can pick up the hammer too. There's certain characters that can, like they just have to be so morally good.
They have to really be on the boot end of the jokes a lot in the Marvel universe to be able to wield Thor's hammer.
So yeah, Thor and Captain America never getting references because Thor's from fucking another planet or realm or whatever the hell they want to say. And Captain America's from the 1940s.
Yeah. Spider-Man being the kid that gets bullied all the time.
He's usually the one that gives out the jokes though when he's with his supervillains. What is it? Mysterio's.
Oh yeah,
he's got
that's
a little
in his own universe. That's only in his own little enclosed space. Like in any of the comic books, when they would interact with other superheroes, he was always laughed at. Like he wasn't allowed to be an Avenger because they didn't think he would be good enough for the team.
I really like what they did with him in the Ultimate comics. I think the Ultimate comics suck besides Peter Parker Spider-Man. Because there's a part where I think it's close right before he dies. He jumps in front of a bullet to save Captain America from getting sniped by Crossbones, I think. Which is kind of funny because that's how Captain America dies in the main continuity. He gets sniped by fucking Crossbones. And Spider-Man jumps in front, and the bullet hits him instead. And I can't remember what shit happens. I think Green Goblin's the one that kills Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's
fighting
the
I thought it was they thought he died because Craven killed him, and he comes back.
in the Ultimate Universe.
I thought that's what it was.
No, it's they find out his secret identity, and they go to his house, and they beat the shit out of Iceman and some other guy. And then he's like unmasked at this point, and he has to fight the Sinister Six. Except, actually, I think he only fights 5 members. I think Doc Ock quit or something right before that because him and Spider-Man leave on good terms. Because Doc Ock doesn't want to be a supervillain anymore. I can't remember. He was really good, and he fights Electro, he fights Vulture, and they all have a personal vendetta. Like the very first thing that happens is Vulture says something like, "You know what the hell you did to me, kid?" And then Spider-Man just beats the shit out of him. And he does something to Craven. Craven gets fucked up. I don't remember. And then he overcharges Electro, fucks him Electro up, and then I can't remember. I can't remember who the other guy is. And then him and Green Goblin are left. Green Goblin fucking kills him with a car explosion, and that's how he dies.
Mm.
And then they do Miles Morales, which I think is one of the worst versions of Spider-Man to date. I fucking hate Miles Morales. Some people like him, so I'm probably gonna get shit from that when someone hears me say that.
Is that the little black kid who gets the Spider-Man costume?
Yeah, I don't like Miles Morales whatsoever. I love the costume. The costume he wears is awesome, but I just do not like Miles Morales. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I just feel like Peter Parker actually had like legitimate issues in his life to complain about, but Miles Morales just seems like a whiny little cunt, and he's not even funny like Spider-Man is. He gets his ass kicked by Venom all the time, and I don't know. I really tried to like it. I really tried to like the new Ultimate Spider-Man, but I just don't think it's good. I'm just not interested if they ever do a movie adaptation.
Ultimate Spider-Man shows are pretty good.
Oh, I know I don't really care much for that. I like the Deadpool episode.
Yeah.
Everything else I don't like. Deadpool episode's funny because he hijacks the whole show.
Pretty much.
He becomes the main character for an episode, and they even have like a fourth wall fight where he kicks Spider-Man's ass. And his origin for that show was stupid. It wasn't even anything like the comics at all, because they can't. And basically, what it is, I don't know why they have such a hard time acknowledging X-Men and Fantastic Four's existence in anything, just because they don't own the film rights to them. But they can do anything they want with TV and comics and books and anything. But it's just kind of weird. The only characters they ever seem to acknowledge from, Fantastic Four and X-Men, they acknowledge Deadpool, they acknowledge Wolverine, and they acknowledge the Thing. Those are the 3 exceptions. Everyone else, actually no, and they acknowledge Doctor Doom. Sometimes
Reed
they use
Richards
Mr.
they
Sinister.
acknowledge.
Well, sometimes. I'm talking about not like the original comics. They definitely acknowledge them then. But it's more of a just like the modernized shows and some of the more like newer storylines, they don't really do anything with any of those characters. They do use Reed Richards, but it's more the Thing.
Intelligent, and they always use him for things like that.
Yeah, he's a big centerpiece in the Marvel universe usually. But Doctor Doom is pretty much the foremost. When you talk about Avengers villains, it's usually Doctor Doom and Ultron are the 2 big ones. And I guess you could say Thanos is more of a Marvel Universe villain, like everyone fighting him. Which that's why I don't get it. I know why they're calling it Avengers Infinity War, but the Guardians of the Galaxy are going to be in it, and characters that probably aren't even a part of the Avengers are going to be in that movie. I understand why they're calling it so it sells, because they're just using a familiar title, but they probably should have just really called it Marvel's Infinity War.
Do you guys remember the game Marvel Nemesis Rise of the Imperfects?
Never played that.
It was a good fighting game. I always wondered, like, where the villains came from. Are they actually part of a comic book, or are they just made up for that game?
What kind of villains were they?
The EA characters are
They were basically Marvelized, how do I explain it? Marvelized Mortal Kombat characters, the best way I can describe it.
EA
Was Carnage in the game?
The game, listen.
Carnage? No, Venom was.
Carnage would have been perfect.
EA created / owned characters. They were put into a comic later, I think. The comic does, however, there are even
Suck.
points in the game. Yeah, okay. So the game is based on the Marvel comic book series with the same name, Rise of the Imperfects. A 6-issue miniseries published from June to December 2005. The miniseries
I used
does
to play
not
that game
depict
all the time.
the miniseries does not depict the events in the game or vice versa, and has completely different story than the game. There are even points in the game and comic book that directly contradict each other. Comic book does, however, star the same characters as the video game and introduces the Electronic Arts owned characters, with, aside from 1 or 2 minor details, have the same background stories and powers. The EA characters are said to be part of the regularly Marvel continuity, but due to the game's poor response and the fact that they're owned by EA, they have only appeared in the above-mentioned miniseries and may never be heard of in the Marvel Universe again.
Yeah. One,
That's your answer?
EA, gay. B, or 1 and B, yeah. 2, I actually really liked the character development, regardless that they came from EA. It's just the fact that they worked with Marvel on the game made them actually work, you know?
Right.
Like, I feel like Marvel kicked EA in the ass to make them do the work for that game, and I
Probably.
enjoyed that.
That's how kind of Marvel how they do things.
Yeah, like, you
They're owned by
wouldn't have-
Disney. That's what Disney does, everyone. They kick him in the ass and make him do shit.
Yeah, because it's not typically something you think of together. You're like, wow, EA in a good game? I haven't heard that in a while.
Mass Effect. Last good EA game I played was, let me think, Dragon Age Inquisition. That was the last good EA game I played.
I haven't
That's the most
actually
recent
played
one.
any of the Dragon Ages yet.
They're all good, except 2 is kind of on the meh side, but it's decent. Dragon Age 1 and Dragon Age Inquisition are both amazing, though.
Nice. So, all right, we'll call this a podcast. We'll keep on chatting or whatever. Thanks for joining me, guys. Another show.